Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. I know it's been a hot minute since I've given you any kind of an update, and I do apologize. I just let things get away from me, and it is what it is, and here I am now. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the beginning of our journey west. We left in the early morning at 3:30 a.m. on August 2nd and headed west. Our first stop was just an overnight stay in Mentor, Ohio, and then we spent 2 days in Madison, Wisconsin, which was really fun. We got to see a few things. We saw the Olin Park and the Turville Point Conservatory, which is a conservation park area right next to Olin Park. Um, Across the street from there is Willow Island, which is a nice little um, it's a pond with willow trees all the way around it, and it looks like a campsite kind of thing for people who are doing events at the stadium behind it. Um, I did find a free zoo called the Henry Village Zoo, which is free to the community, that runs on donations and stuff, and is a great educational point for people to learn about different types of animals, walking around and looking at all the animals. Everything was really well done there. Everything was, all the animals seemed to be really well cared for. There was a few of the exhibits that were under renovation, and so the animals had been relocated to nearby zoos. So that was a little disappointing that I didn't get to see the giraffe or the penguins, but I understand that they're working on, giving them the best life and providing the best care for them. So that's good. And then we also did find the Albrecht Botanical Garden, which is another free to the public thing. They do have a couple of activities there that you do have to pay for. But for the most part, the garden itself is free to the public and runs on donations and stuff. That was a beautiful garden, a big space, lots of little paths and stuff to walk through, lots of plants and stuff that we've never seen before. It was beautifully well kept, and it was a really nice way to get outside and spend some time. And we explored State Street, which is a main street in the center of Madison that leads to the state capitol building. And the street is basically closed off to traffic. You have to have a special permit or be city transport, like a bus, to go down that road. Other than that, it is free for people to ride their bikes, walk, skateboard, whatever. That was really cool. There's a lot of shops and restaurants down that street, and that was a good way to spend the evening for us, kind of just checking out the local vibe. From there, we left Tuesday morning and we headed towards South Dakota. We decided that would be our next stop for a few days, and so we could explore that region a little bit. On the way there, we were looking for rest stops and fun little places, or at least a good place to stretch our legs. And I found this cute little town called Blue Earth, Minnesota, and they are the hometown of the Green Giant vegetables, and they actually have an enormous Jolly Green Giant statue and a small Sprout statue. If you know, you know. I, of course, took my opportunities to do some photos with both Giant and Sprout, and that was super cute. I really enjoyed them. They're just statues. I know I'm a weirdo. And we also found the Statue of Dignity, and that was breathtaking. It's a big, huge, beautiful statue. I'll add pictures of that. Um, and then we made our way to Sioux Falls, where we spent the next few days. And while we were in Sioux Falls, I explored the Pettigrew House, which is another facility that's free to the community, so you can learn a little bit more about the history of Sioux Falls. I then found the Lower Sioux Falls Park, which when Andy got out of work later that day, we went together and walked around down there. There's a great observation tower, so you can go up to the top, see pretty good views of the river and the whole park. And that was really nice. We had really great weather the whole time we were there. So that was another perk of the trip, is we've pretty much had decent weather so far everywhere we've been. We also found an arboretum. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but Andy found, the Mary Jo Wegner Arboretum. And that is a nice green space with gardens and a little water feature and trees that we'd never seen before, and little paths to walk around. That was really nice. And then we went into the city to see the Arc of Dreams, which is a big sculpture that goes over the river. And there's a walkway that continues down the river. I think it goes pretty much the whole length of the Sioux Falls River. So we walked from the Arc to the lower Sioux Falls Park and then back up. And that was really nice. It's great to see that these towns have such great walkable, free things for the community to do. It seems like a very eclectic and easily accessible city, which we really enjoyed. I did find, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it. I hadn't heard of it before. When I was looking for things to do, I found, I was looking for like places to eat and stuff. There was a place called Yonuts, where they take like these big delicious looking donuts and they cut them in half and fill them with ice cream and then they smash them together. I got one for Andy. I couldn't eat any of them, but that was, it was cool. We did walk down one night from our Airbnb to get dinner at a place called The Dive, and it was really good. It's this cute little hole in the wall kind of thing in a little mini strip mall. And the food there was really good. They were really great about making sure that my meal was safe for me to eat. Our server, I don't know if he was the owner or manager, but he was excellent. And he really took good care of us. He was really friendly. And they make a really good garlic aioli. And let's see, what else? From there, on Saturday morning was when we left Sioux Falls, and then we were heading more west. We decided our first big national park stop was going to be Yellowstone. So we hopped in bright and early in the morning into Journey and headed that way. On our way through, we took Aunt Pam's suggestion and stopped in Wall, South Dakota, so that we could check out the famous Wall Drug. And that was busy. That place was busy. They are very famous for having 5-cent coffee and free ice water, which we did not partake in because it was just too congested, and we weren't there for a long period of time. We decided we'd just kind of check it out, check it off the bucket list there. Behind the drugstore, there is a nice little outside, like kind of playscape area where they have some like statue prop things for some like interesting photo ops, which I'll post you mine. And of course, I was being me, so you'll know there's going to be something silly. And then from there, we went to see Mount Rushmore, which in person is so much more impressive than it is in photos. Any of you who have already been there, you know that. The drive up there is amazing. Through so far where we've been, from that point, let's see, pretty much since we left until that point, we had seen some really interesting landscapes as we were driving and had been on some interesting roads. But like when we started getting into those mountain ranges, that's when the roads really started getting interesting and a little terrifying at times, especially for a scaredy cat like me when it comes to like being on the edge of a cliff while I'm driving or like steep slopes. Anyway, so while we were there, there's a little trail that goes around, like down around the bottom a little bit of the mountain in the front. It's called the Presidential Trail. We did that little hike to get some extra steps in while we were, doing our long drives. We were doing what we could to get some steps in and keep ourselves active and our blood flowing properly. And that was a nice little trail and give you some different perspectives of the monument. After that, we continued driving around. We drove down through Deadwood. While we were in that region of South Dakota, there was a big bike event, motorcycle bike, so there was bikers out everywhere, which was really fun. Really cool to see them all, the big um, groups of them driving together and the unitedness of them. Deadwood was full of bikers. I'll post a video of our little view through Deadwood and all the bikers that you see. It was really cool. And then, let's see, around 8:30 at night, we made it to Gillette, Wyoming, where we spent the night there before we continued to travel to Yellowstone. While we were driving towards Yellowstone from Gillette, Wyoming, we made it through Cody, Wyoming. And in Cody, there is a beautiful scenic road driving through Bighorn National Forest and the Black Hills National Forest. We did stop at the Buffalo Bill Dam and the Scenic Reservoir. We got some really good pictures there. It's beautiful through there. The air is so pretty. It smells nice. Pretty much everywhere we've been so far has been really beautiful. But that area through the Black Hills and the Bighorn was really, really pretty, really pretty. Some of those curves and slopes in those hills were a little scary. I mean, there was times where I don't think I was really breathing, but we made it through, and I really challenged myself on those roads quite a bit while I was driving. And the air there was something like I've never smelled before. It just was so pure and so clean, and it was refreshing, especially after being in the car for quite a while. But it was truly picturesque. We really enjoyed that. And then we arrived in Yellowstone, and we decided to come in through, I believe, the south entrance, because I read up that Hayden Valley was where we would most likely see some animals, and I really, really wanted to see some animals. We did get to see some elk as we were driving through there, but that was pretty much it. Not even very many. We saw like one lazy elk on the side of the road. There was a bunch of people standing around him taking pictures. Other than that, we just saw a bunch of trees and interesting landscape, and I wasn't disappointed. And then we made our way to see Old Faithful, and she puts on quite a show. She kind of does a couple of little teasers and stuff before she blows, so everybody was kind of like, "Ooh, this is it! Ooh, this is it!" And then it wasn't. And then we'd wait for a few more minutes and a few more minutes. They give you like an estimated time frame of when it normally erupts. So when it finally did, it was pretty spectacular. It's a short show. She only blows for like 3 minutes. The best part for me, I think, was listening to the kids and all the tourists and everything, and the excitement. The kids were just so cute. They were all like so mesmerized by it, and their exclamations of excitement were adorable to listen to. So that was fun. And then after that, we went down to see the Grand Prismatic Springs, which was really cool. It was really crowded up at the top of the viewing point, and people were not super polite. Some groups were not even like really watching, just standing in the way, not facing it, just kind of being in the way, not really respectful of the fact that there were other people trying to see, or I don't know. It was okay. The view itself was pretty cool. This season, the view was pretty. The smell of all the sulfur from all of those geysers and hot springs is kind of something I wasn't expecting. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but I guess I just hadn't read up enough to know that it was pretty fragrant. Some of them, like the sulfur cauldron, was one of the stinkiest that we saw. So anyway, after that, we just kept driving through, and then after we left Old Faithful, as we were heading down towards Grand Prismatic Springs, I almost hit a bear. Oh my goodness, I was driving along, and there's cars coming towards us, and they're like flashing their hazards and flashing their headlights at us, and it took me a second to realize why, as is a mama bear and her cub like coming into the road. And so I kind of slammed on my brakes, but I didn't come to a complete full stop. Like, I stopped for a second and then just kind of like panic rolled a little. But the mama bear and her baby cub did get across the street safely, but I like panicked. I didn't know what I was doing, and then afterwards Andy was like, "What just happened?" I'm like, "I don't even know. I don't even know." It was scary, and I feel really bad. But they were okay. They did make it safely to the other side. And so that was the big event there, and we did get to see, as we were going through, off in the distance. Unfortunately, it was too far away for us to be able to get any good quality photos or any good video footage. Off in the distance, coming out into the field, was a little herd of buffalo. I did get some pictures of a herd of elk, and that was pretty much it we saw for wildlife out there. I was kind of disappointed. I really wanted to see more. I was hoping to see some like bighorns and stuff. But, we saw some elk. We did see some buffalo. We saw, I think, some kind of a little squirrely thing. That was it. What did we do next? After that, we stayed right outside of Yellowstone in Livingston, Montana. I think we stayed 2 days in Livingston. Yeah. And we left August 10th. Was it August? Yeah, August 10th we made it to Livingston. I believe that was Sunday. And then, so we stayed in Livingston for 2 days, and they have the Sacagawea Park. So we went there to get outside. There's some beautiful views from the park along the river, and the Sacagawea statue. So that was cool. And then we headed up on the morning of the 12th. We loaded back up into the car and headed towards Spokane, Washington. We decided we would spend a few days in Spokane because we wanted to check out that region of Washington and kind of get a couple of days rest. While we were in Washington, or in Spokane, I went to a local farmer's market, and we went down to the Riverfront Park. Other than that, we didn't do too much while we were there. We did check out, I checked out a couple of markets and stores while Andy was at work, and after he got out of work, we explored Manitou Park, which is a pretty big park to walk around. It's free parking. They have a Japanese garden, which unfortunately was closed while we were there. They have a great English garden and a rose garden. Those were really pretty. A few sculptures and stuff. There's a lot of people there, a lot of people outside enjoying the outside, which was good to see. And then Friday morning, we kept it nice and low key, doing laundry and prepping everything, like reorganizing all of our stuff so that we could get back on the road. We left, I think, pretty early in the morning on the 16th, and we hopped in the car and headed we wanted to make our way towards Oregon. We wanted to spend a couple days in Oregon. So that was where we spent the first 2 weeks. So that's all I'm going to give you for now, is from there up until we left Spokane. If you have any questions, comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can follow for more. I will be posting a couple of short videos and doing a little photo slideshow. So again, thanks for stopping by, and you'll be seeing me soon.